unrealistic clients. Maybe they didn't understand the expectations, or I don't know.
Yeah.
Across the board, just more stuff.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to go ahead and just kind of kick us over to get this rolling, since I know you guys are, your time is valuable. So let's go there.
I got 2 showings on my brand new listing today. What?
Did you say something, Jess?
Your energy seems really low, everybody.
Yeah.
You sound like you're in a well somewhere, like 50 feet down.
I have no idea why.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. It's like echoing.
I don't know.
Maybe it's your earrings.
I mean, just my opinion. I think energy, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock is probably not the best time to do these, in my opinion, just from a energy standpoint.
Yeah. All right. We're going live.
I like that, Tim.
Hey, we're going live, and Tony, you're totally right. Our next one will be a happy hour. How about that?
Yes.
Good with that.
All right. I believe we are live on Facebook land, and we are recording. And so welcome, guys. How are ya?
Doing good.
We, as we were just here prepping and getting ready and talking about what we're going to talk about, we noticed that all our energy was pretty low. So are there breathing exercises or something we should do to get our energy up? Drink some water.
My energy's good. I think my internet sucks though.
Mine stinks.
So we have
In the go juice. I'm good.
Let's do this. All right. So welcome back. And I'm so excited to see all your lovely faces. And today we have some different topics that we've been brainstorming on. And we'll just kind of go around and share how we're doing, where we are in relation to our goal, what our goals were, because I think we need to keep having accountability around that. And at least with each other, if not for the World Wide Web. And sharing that we're working a little harder than we've worked in a really long time. And Jess, you chimed in on my post this morning. It's the whole comparison thing, right? Don't compare your insides to other people's outsides, whether it's business or exercise or whatever it may be. And we can see people that we think are just crushing it, and our reality is a little different. Would you guys agree? Yeah. So why don't we just start with Tony? You can just share who you are, where you're at, how your business is going so far this year in relation to your goal, and all that good stuff.
Yeah, be glad to. Tony Baroni, Tampa Bay, Florida. I've got a team of 13 people currently, and we're on track. We're at like 43 million this year so far, under contract closed, and our goal is 300 this year. And about this time of the year, I feel like, our whole team, whether it be June or July, I find it's usually July, we really start getting wore out, and, where we all have to regroup a little bit because we've worked so hard this year so far. So that's where we're at. And I think we're going to talk about some of that today, right?
Yeah, let's do it. Jess, why don't you share?
I'm Jess Starr from Connecticut, and we're at, our units are down, yet what I noticed today was our volume actually is on pace for what we were at last year. So the good news is volume is up. I didn't add in the volume for under contracts, but what we've closed is 25 million so far this year. And we are a team of 6. That's 4 agents and 2 admin. And we had a big reorg from 16 people last year. And I have 2 in the wings that I'm working on hiring as well, aiding more too.
Awesome. How are you doing, Tammy?
Doing good, doing good. I'm Tim Halkin, Baton Rouge, as you can see right. How do I get my finger on that thing? There we go. Go Tigers. We've got a team of 15. Trying to point right here at my slogan, hush. Team of 15 currently. We are at 83% of goal for the year. So we're at 112 closed. units. So we're doing good, but we're starting to slide. It's about time's drawing near. So we're definitely feeling the pressure. To make some corrections.
Yeah. Awesome. Josh.
Josh Anderson in Nashville, Tennessee. We've got 6 agents on the team and 6 admin. So we are as of last week, we were at 83 million for closed and pending. So I'm happy about that because I feel like this is the first year I think we're going to cross over the 100 million mark. Only been trying for about 5 years.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm excited. I think we're maybe a little bit behind on our numbers, but we're doing pretty well. I think we're at like 95% of where we need to be.
What's that in units for us who don't have quite a large sales price?
So we're at about, I think we're at 183 or 184 closed and pending for the year. So I think we'll be probably 225 closed, which will put us, our original goal was 109 million maybe. And then we backed it down to like 96 million. And I said, that's close enough. We just need to go ahead and cross over that 100. So yeah,
cool.
We're working. But I think this is the time of year where everybody's like starting to get burned a little bit, burned out and tired. And
yeah. Besides the heat and the weather, we've had lots of things happen with our weather.
I think it's great, you guys. I'm finally thrilled with the weather.
Yeah,
That's
right?
awesome.
Look at this glow.
How about you, Jenny? Where's your team at?
Yeah, so I'm in Tulsa, Oklahoma, Jenny Wolek. We have, I just looked today, we have 96 closed and pending. And we are excited for when we get 94 more under contract, because we love to do the 100 celebration with our clients. And we started the year, I think, with 8 team members, and then we went to 5, and now we're like at 6, maybe 7. We keep just fluctuating and having lots of fun with all this transition. And yes, Jess looks beautiful with her tan, and others have had some, I don't know, in Tulsa, Oklahoma, we felt the slowdown with the 4th of July holiday. Everyone gets out of town. Our activities don't change, but gosh, everyone on the team takes vacations, and even if their intentions are still strong, there is just a slowdown. Anyone else feeling kind of that? And then how do we as leaders keep us going?
I know in our area, we typically have like the month of July in my little town, the cars, the traffic, there's like nobody on the roads. You can get anywhere in no time flat. And that's why I usually take 2 weeks off. I didn't this year. I actually worked straight through vacation, which I never do. This is the first year I did it, yet I had to because we really didn't have the coverage that we needed with what we had pending. And yet this is the week I'm back, and all of a sudden it feels slower. So bunch of listing appointments, but people getting ready to get ready, not quite ready yet. So trying to give them the push to at least get their houses staged for August. Yet it's, kind of pulling teeth a little bit.
Yeah, I think halfway through the year we have where, one question I had for my coach recently was, hey, do we change goal or do we stay on goal? And he's like, the way I look at it, you just need to start hitting that monthly goal for what your annual goal is. And whenever that starts happening, you kind of reset the clock for, if that's July, for example. Last month, we were 1 unit down from goal, and this month we're going to be way over, and we're going to have our best month ever. So take it for July going forward for the next 12 months and try to hit the goal then if you're not going to hit the goal by the end of the year. In other words, just get on track monthly, and then once you know you can do it, you do it, and you figure it out and continue doing it from then on. And the goal is to get it 3 months in a row where you're at goal. And then your team's like, hey, we can do this, right? So that's where we're at right now. And I feel like our team is like, just from working our asses off, this year. It's been very great. I'm grateful for the business. And also we've been down some people at times. I've had some people doing double roles, myself included. And it's catch-up time. And we just brought on a new guy, and man, his energy is awesome. And he started yesterday, and he is just on fire. He's lifted our whole team up because he's just got great energy, and we're all like, wow, this guy's awesome. So
yeah,
bringing in new talent always helps with that.
Yeah, that's great. You guys have anything else you want to share on that?
Nope.
Okay.
I think that, history repeats itself. I think this is that time of year where there's, school's getting ready to start. There is weather, there's a number of things, but the question you asked Jenny was, what can we do as leaders to make an impact? And we know that actions dictate, what shows up 30, 60, 90 days later. So I think the one thing we could do is be aware of, like Tony said, everybody just being tired and worn out, but still holding the standard of the activities that need to be done. Because inevitably, if we take a dip in 60 to 90 days, we'll be able to look back and go, what didn't we do in late July? What didn't we do in early August to change the trajectory of our late third and fourth quarter? So it's still being consistently consistent.
Yeah.
And avoid distractions, right? We're all talking about that. That's the hard part.
Yeah, so this last week I got to be in Austin as a QL instructor, and we got Gary for lunch. We had about 40 minutes with him, and even if, he was really talking with us about Quantum Leap and how it's the foundation of success and culture in our company, so many people don't even know about Quantum Leap. And so in the end, when asking him a question after whatever, and it was me asking this question, in the end, he really just said training. It's always training. Training is always the answer for whatever it is that ails you. And as a team, God, that just hit me in the gut, because I've gotten disconnected from the team on my training with them and one-on-ones with them. So as soon as I got back, we implemented every morning at 8:15, we have a Google Hangout call-in chat. I know you guys have done these before. You do it in person. It's just a way to reconnect as a team and state our intentions, And so what kind of tools are you guys doing as a team to keep your training connected and moving forward?
Sorry, go ahead, Josh.
No, you.
Thanks.
Ladies first.
Ladies first.
In June, actually, one thing that we did was we did a challenge. We started just before June to do a 66-day challenge of stuff that people wanted to hit personally for their goals. So, I wanted to do 10,000 steps a day. Another person wanted to hit half their cap. Another person wanted to pay off a certain amount of debt, and somebody else wanted to cut back on smoking, or whatever it was. So we had all these goals, and once we hit it, we actually had a reward, and we kept each other accountable each week and on our Google Hangout call. We had a reward just to go to dinner as a team, and then to go to Cirque du Soleil. So we all went as a team, just as, something fun to do to get out of the office, because we've been working our hearts out. And then, the other thing is on the Google Hangouts call that we do every morning, we set our intentions out, but then we also say things like where we're going, what we're covering, because we cover a large section in the state, so that we're not overlapping each other. And if we can help each other out by snagging an escrow check or grabbing a lockbox for somebody, so somebody else doesn't have to do it if we haven't had it leveraged out, we do that just to save time for other people, since we'll be in the area.
That's smart.
Yeah.
Josh, you had something.
Training wise, I think for us, it's like, I was telling you guys some of the trainings we've done. So like the doing 1031 exchanges, doing things on client experience. I think we can't ever get enough of that. And I think some people naturally gravitate to the client experience more than others. And I think that it's, as much as we as agents need a certain client experience, I think that our admin have to be on the same page about, it's actually probably more important that they understand and nail the client experience at an even higher level than we do. just because so much of getting it to the closing table and getting it closed and funded and everything is. So I just think things like that are really important. Other things that we've been doing, we do our one-on-ones and we probably need to bring back our Google Hangouts for 10 or 15 minutes in the mornings. We did that for like 3 years and just kind of stopped, and that's probably my fault. But really digging into like, one of the things Gary said last year was like, just kind of talking about Zillow and kind of talking about it being a transactional business versus client experience, and like instead of selling properties, like really knowing things. So I kind of took that to heart and really brought in people from like Metro for zoning to understand different zoning codes and types. Having, architect come in and talk about like, what is it, you've got traditional houses, but you've also got the bungalows and the craftsmans and the four squares, and what are those? And we've all heard of them, but like, what is it really? Going on site to a home builder and really showing us the ins and outs of a house, or going and doing like an on-site home inspection. You've probably read or skimmed over hundreds of home inspections, but like, do you really understand some of the stuff in home inspections? And I can honestly say there's stuff I'm like, nah, I don't really know what that is. Doesn't help that I'm not handy at all, but it's just stuff. I mean, those are the things that I think our clients are expecting us to know, not just zip codes and school districts and where the 55 plus communities or where, so those are always things that we're talking about. And so one of the things that we have started, and we've talked about this, is creating, kind of an ongoing quiz for our new agents for training, as well as, things like what verbiage are people doing in other states that might help our clients get, an escalation clause is relevant in some areas. Some places don't allow it or don't do it. And some agents locally don't even acknowledge it. They're just like, no. So it's just really knowing all those things and constantly talking to the team about all of that. And so I'd love to hear some of you guys, like who are y'all bringing in? Not just agents, but are you guys bringing in people like architects and people from your metro areas, zoning departments, and all that kind of stuff?
Well, that's funny. We do the daily huddle. We've done it in person since inception of the team, and we stick with that. So that's pretty cool, which is, like Jenny said, just what happened yesterday? What'd you accomplish? Tell me something good. We go over, try to keep the energy up. We state our intentions for what we're going to accomplish this day. And then we can lead into some scripting, or like, hey, I had a lot of challenges yesterday with this, or, hey, is there some new flood zone change in this area of town? And so we talk about that. So being present has helped. And then to answer your question, Josh, I just scheduled like a home remodeler, because there's just different avenues of ways that, meaning, hey, this home doesn't exist, we can't find it. Well, if you know how remodelers work and what they can do, like, it's like a value to say, hey, now if you know what this remodeler does, maybe we can target some homes that need, they're undervalued, that need work. And so really just trying to expand the way that my team thinks, as far as, because our one thing is value. We always want to bring value to our clients. And if we can bring somebody at home that's under market, that we can come in and do some work and have them have $60,000 in equity, to me, that's real value for a client. And I've done that numerous times, but I take it for granted that my team will just absorb this knowledge. So I've been working on some training for the rest of the year. We have a remodeler coming in. We have a builder. We have, I don't have anybody from planning and zoning, and I think that would be good.
I don't know if that's relevant. If
Frozen.
Oh yeah, get him.
Yeah, look at that frozen face.
Yeah, no.
Oh, it's off. Too late.
So I know. Damn it. Okay, so my point is, like, the zoning thing might not be relevant if you're not doing new construction or you're not doing Airbnb type things.
It would be relevant though if you are doing farmland, and it would be relevant if you have waterways that you do. So that's important.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just saying for some people it's not as relevant as others, but I think that there's tons of things that we can be, like we had a property manager come in. I just had an email from our appraiser. We have an appraiser come in every year, but he just said, hey, a lot of the desktop, they're about to start doing a lot more desktop appraisals. So he said, I'd love for you guys to know about this, which I really appreciated him reaching out. And, even down to our lenders. I mean, think about how many different programs are out there, and no one lender can do all of it.
We actually also have, so we have lenders come in at least once a month after our team meeting. We have radon and air, radon and water guys come in, talk about the 2 different types of systems they'll put in because it's a big deal in Connecticut. We have pest inspectors come in. We had mold mitigators come in, and they gave a half-day presentation on different types of mold, where you can find the mold, what to expect, how to mitigate, costs of it. Those are big things. Then I actually have taken the team before out on field trips to, the tile companies and the crown molding and that kind of thing, to talk about different types of styles with the homes, with different types of surfaces, with countertops. So when you're looking at things and they say, well, what do you think of the value of this? And I can say, well, you know what? This Ubatuba granite is very custom. It's ordinary. I know it's granite, but it's not a fancy granite. It doesn't cost very much. But,
it was cool like 20 years ago.
Exactly. But, if you know that, great. And if you don't, you go, oh, it's granite. It's great, right? So if you know the materials, you can know the value of what they're worth, and you can know the higher end quality as well. So if you want to sell to that market, you need to know those materials too, and you know what you're talking about. Then we also teach on mechanicals. So sometimes I'll have my heating and air guys come in, teach about the mechanicals of a home, because sometimes people will look at a water heater and say, oh, that's the furnace. You're like, no, that's not even the furnace, that's the boiler, but you need to know the difference because of how they run. So I'll teach that class. We walk through all the different types of mechanicals in a home. That, I think, is step 1 on being a real estate agent. Know what the mechanicals of a home are if you're pointing them out to somebody. That should be in everybody's 90-day plan.
The problem is there's no one, you don't have to know that stuff.
No, but you're opening the door. You're not just a door opener.
Of course, but that's exactly what Gary was saying, is if you're just opening doors and you're just doing a transaction, then you're ultimately no different than Zillow or Redfin or whoever it is. Yeah. And how do we know so much that our clients feel compelled to use us?
Right.
I think that's a good point, Josh. I remember when Gary said that, it was eye-opening on, you should know the construction type and every aspect. I feel like
he kind of slapped us across the face with it. It was kind of like, I can't believe you guys don't know this.
Most agents don't.
Yeah.
Well, he was saying, you get your home inspection license potentially just to have the knowledge and market yourself that from that aspect, not do home inspections, but ultimately have the knowledge. So I feel like for us, really the beginning it's the sales side, and that's like the plus part of it, right? Where we bring in knowledge that for our own team of how to think. Like, for instance, this morning we had a team meeting, and my part of the section was become the economist of choice, and we pulled up all the stats and broke them down from how I would use those with clients, because we have some, a couple new people that might not know that 97% of list price to sales price means the buyers on average are getting 3% off, and our teams get 99% on the list side. And, all of those details, to the point of if you're working with a buyer or seller 500 or higher, then, buyers aren't beating down the door to get houses in that price range. And it takes longer to sell those. So setting the seller's expectations like, hey, it's probably not going to be 2 days that we have an offer for your house. Considering your house is 1 million, you have 12 months of inventory, and just knowing the market that well, where you can break it down and be the economist of choice for every single person you meet, every friend that asks you about real estate. And yeah, actually it depends. It's a tale of 3 markets. How's the market? It's a tale of 3 markets. You've got a buyer's market, a balanced market, and a seller's market, depending on where you're at, depending on how you can take advantage of that. So that's what we're talking about. And I'm taking that hour team meeting real serious. What's that?
Do you guys do total market overviews?
Yes.
Okay. So we've even broken it down. We do it in like these $25,000 increments, and it's like one neighborhood. I mean, one 500 to 525 might be very much a seller's market, and 525 to 550 is a buyer's market. So it's like just really knowing those at a high level.
And actually, I'd also go even one step further than that. If you do that in certain, like for our area, certain towns, in certain neighborhoods, certain elementary school districts,
Sure.
broken down even more so. So if you get somebody that's not in Simsbury, Connecticut, like I am, which is fine, but they don't know that, they're going to compare Terrafil to Simsbury the same, and it's not the same based on what the market is doing. So you really need to know, A, what elementary school district it's in, B, what's happening in each quarter bracket increment. And honestly, even when you're competing, one really good thing, and a super simple way to do it, if you don't know how to do the absorption rates like Tony's talking about, all you do is literally print the MLS and go, okay, let's look at 6 months back, a year back, how many sold in this price bracket in that time frame. And you can say, do you want to be one of the 5 that sold within that 6 month period, or do you want to be one of the 8 that will sell? So
Right.
it's just from really simple numbers.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have a question and a change of topic for you guys. I know you all so well, and I know that you all are working harder than you have worked in a really long time. We've all been in this business for a really long time, years and years and years, and we've built teams and we have leverage, and some may think that we have it all together and life is just a cakewalk. And I want to know, as you guys are sharing like all these things, that all these agents should be the experts on everything inside of a house and all the things with the economy and the market, all these things. I mean, how does a person really balance and keep all of these things straight and still have a life?
Well, balance isn't real first.
Counterbalance.
Yeah. And we haven't been in the business as long as you. And are you covering your face up, Jeff? Oh, perfect. I can say that I am working as hard today as I was 13 years ago. And I think there's a pretty big misconception on like, oh, I'm going to build a team and I don't have to like be in production or whatever. And I think that's a great recipe for disaster. And I think just about everybody I know that's gotten out of production has gotten back in production if they haven't insulated themselves correctly or built the team correctly. And even if you do get out of production, you should still be coming to the office every day doing business development, you know, looking for HR departments to work with, or builders, or
Leading the team.
Big channel accounts. Or if you're not going to be in production, you need to train the shit out of your team at a really high level. Like you need to be the trainer,
Right?
And total badass at it. So
You need to be a do like no other.
yes, like that, Jess. I just think that I think that Keller Williams has done an amazing job of like selling the team idea, and I think it's great. And I think some people think that it's a lot easier to do than it actually is to do. It's literally the most difficult thing I've ever done.
Me too.
Harder than parenting, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, Jess has like 12 kids.
I mean, I guess I'm coming from a place of I've had a month as being our team transaction coordinator, and I've learned a lot, and it's been pretty amazing to get and see all of the inefficiencies or making systems better. I know, Jess, you operate many times wearing lots of hats on your team, whether you're the marketing girl and social media.
When you say amazing, do you mean like amazing, like you're very excited that you just hired somebody and you get to pass the baton, or amazing like you want to stay in that position because it's awesome?
I'm ready to pass. And we have forms called Pass the Baton. And so those have gotten tweaked and bettered. So our systems are awesome right now, for sure. So what other roles are you guys finding yourself, because you're just naturally talented at it, that you get pulled back into?
Well, I think the
career,
the statement of career, the statement that what you focus on expands. And what happens is, as I've scaled back my production, I have found things to replace it with. So I'm working just as hard on other items, hiring, recruiting. I grabbed our operations manager the other day and almost had a meltdown. I was like, oh, so
Actually, something happened.
yeah.
Okay.
So, meaning there's other work that needs to be done. So I think the misperception is because you're not selling, or you may not be listing or working with buyers anymore, that there's less work. There's as much work on other items. And, as an organization grows until it's running like a fine-tuned machine, even at that point, you're refining and making it better. So I think the misperception lies within not selling. You're doing something. And I think that's what's gotten us all to the point where we are now is we're constantly evolving and growing and learning and mastering new skills. And so the management piece, let's talk about that. I mean, when you started selling real estate, do you think you'd be managing the amount of people we're managing? Are we?
No.
And you do a bad job at it, but.
I didn't get into real estate to be a manager. If I wanted to be a manager, I would have gone to Burger King. That's not what I got into the business for. I don't think anybody on this call or anybody listening got into the business to be in management. And by default, I mean, it's different to think I'm going to be a leader versus I'm going to be a manager, and there's overlapping pieces of all of it. But yeah.
But producing and leading or managing, what you're saying, is a very, very underrated task. You're being pulled in a lot of directions often. And so, yeah, I don't have the answer to that question. I just know that the spaces that keeps opening up with time, I keep filling in with other items that are moving the needle forward. I'm learning every day.
Well, I also think that it's about deals right now. I don't know about in y'all's market, but I think that doing deals right now is the hardest I've seen it in 13 and a half years. And that's in addition to training, managing, supporting, leading the team, building the team, recruiting, offboarding people, all those fun things. Deals are just harder right now. Buyers, I think, are tired of like paying more and getting less. I think sellers are still being sellers. And I think everybody involved in the transaction is burned out, tired, pissed off, frustrated. Expectations aren't where they need to be. Perceptions, it's a little bit of everything. So it's like you're getting hit from every angle right now, I think.
Did you not notice the text I sent you with the picture of my client with the sold sign and us drinking beers behind it yesterday?
Yeah.
That walkthrough was 2 hours. It was a nightmare. The AC didn't work. And if I didn't know all about mechanicals and be married to the guy that did heating and air conditioning, they could have been out $10,000 and a ton of other stuff. So, like, seriously, they felt the need to bring the beer to the porch to make me come back and drink it with them. I was fine with it. But it's been harder, and that deal was extended a month and a half longer than it needed to be. They were stressed beyond belief, like rate lock issues, all sorts of stuff. And none of this was the buyer's issue. It actually happened to be the seller's issue because of an estate. So you never know what's going to happen with, and I feel like the deals that we've been doing, we've had to, whether on the listing or the buy, it's like we're putting properties under contract 2 and 3 times over. Sometimes with the same buyer even, because they wanted to get out, their expectations aren't reasonable. We have to talk them down, talk them off the ledge. And there's a lot of anxiety and stress in the market right now.
Do you think it's related to the price?
Sometimes, and then sometimes it's also, interest rates changed. They went down, people got excited, so they came back and they could afford, more of the house, which was great. But then sellers get frustrated. They don't want to take less. And certain price brackets in our town, you can make money. Other price brackets, they are bleeding. Like, it's insane. So, and they are remembering what was happening a year and a half, 3 years ago, and can't fathom why it's not going to happen now. And we can say, look, we understand you're comparing it to this house, and that house we actually brought the buyer on. So we know what you're looking at, and yet you're not going to get that today.
I think it's an expectation always, and you just have to spend a lot more time in expectations, a lot more in training for expectations. And for instance, sellers that you could tell them we're not doing any repairs 2 years ago, and now we have to do repairs. So that's part of the process, prepping them for that, and then coaching your team how to do that. So one thing on the list side, we're calling lenders again, right? Like, the pre-approval, we're calling them before we accept and having a conversation. Hey, this is the closing date. Are you through DU underwriting? You know, all the details of, did you pull a tri-merge credit report? And it sounds silly, but ultimately we uncover a lot of stuff, and we're like, I don't know if on multi-offer situation, our job's to coach them properly to get the best offer that's going to close, right, on the best terms. So we're just retraining and spending a lot of time with the basics, the fundamentals, going back to that.
You're gonna have to dust off that short sale binder.
Yeah, I know, right? It could happen.
I think the thing that you touched on that I'd say is like really making sure the team understands why we're doing things rather than doing them. And so why are we doing it this way versus over here? And is there more than one way to do it? Sure. But we do it this way because of X, Y, and Z, and making sure the admin understand that too. I think there's a lot of times when we ask our admins to do stuff, and I'm not sure they actually know why we're doing it.
Well, we had a team meeting this morning. I had talked about it. It was just like someone said on this video. It's like, did you ever think that we would be sitting here planning all this stuff? So basically, we're talking about event planning. We're talking about all the details of our next client party. And it just, I had a big aha in the moment. I'm like, you know, do you remember when we just sold real estate and how simple that was? And now it's so much more complex because we've grown our teams. It doesn't mean that things get easier ever. It just means we need to add more and more value all the time to get those repeat customers to come back and create new clients. And the cost of that is just crazy. Like we're throwing, like the event we throw in October is like throwing a wedding. I mean, it's the same, it's a wedding venue ultimately. And the details that it takes to pull that off is really, really extensive. So we're now forming, you know, ambassador of fun and a chair for each thing. And, you know, so we're kind of growing from Kelly and I trying to handle it to like, hey guys, we need help. Like I have no more time left. So who can help me with this? Who's got talent with this? So it's interesting. And it all happens from, you know, being determined that you're going to grow a big business way back when.
Yeah, I think we're seeing since I've been the transaction coordinator for the last month, I am getting and seeing that even though we're pushing on the front for appraisals, is the appraisal been ordered? Where's the appraisal? They're coming in a few days before closing, even with all of the prying and the bulletproofing of the transaction and the nudging and getting things going. And then say, even if they do come in at value, they've got requirements in them. And so the hardest part for me and my team is that we've already negotiated all these things with our sellers, with our clients. Everybody feels good. We're in agreement. And now we have this last minute stumbling block that now we feel like we're letting them down on our client experience that we've worked so hard to maintain, and it's out of our control. And so, yeah, I wrote down bulletproofing the transaction. So it's get the shift book out again if you haven't, or if you probably shouldn't have put it up if you did. And even now we can, Tony, we can cycle into this part is, yeah, now we're in the business of this client experience that includes events. And I just had one, Tony just had one, I'm about to have one, Josh will have one. I know Tim has events all the time as well. So you guys just want to talk about our movie events?
Sure. Not till November.
We, at our team meeting this week, we always like to debrief after each event to see, you know, how it went, what we could have improved on. We also like to call the clients after the event to see what they thought of it. Anybody that might not have been able to make it, just say thank you, we miss you, can't wait for the next one. So today we're up to 7 referrals from the event, which was great. Whoop, whoop.
So did those come after with the phone calls?
They started the week before, and they started and we had some at the event. We had 3 at the event.
How did you ask at the event?
I didn't. They came up to me.
Okay.
So, and actually, what's that?
Same thing here. They came to me at the movies. Hey, my sister's moving here, and you know, just random randomness of, hey, thanks for the movie, and by the way, I've got someone that I need to refer to you.
Yeah. So the cool thing, and I am a dork and I'm going to share it and I don't care. So I was so upset because I had a bunch of people on the team that didn't work out. We had a movie planned in March for Dumbo. We didn't end up doing it. I kept asking, checking in, and then didn't pan out. So they didn't pan out either, so we didn't do it. And I was really bummed we didn't get to do the event because we had all these events planned for the year. And if we had done it, I wouldn't have done The Lion King, which happens to be one of my favorite movies. So we did The Lion King, which was great. And we happened to have Pumbaa, the voice of the original Pumbaa, live in town. I met him at an open house in 2007. And I was just kind to him. He had another agent. I didn't know who he was when he walked in, but I kept saying, God, you look so familiar. I know you. I don't know why. And then I realized he was Leon Carosi on Saved by the Bell. And anyways, it was just so fun. So he walked in, and I'd seen him at other events for the fire department and whatever throughout the years and at other open houses. So 2 days before the event, I reached out to a mutual friend and said, hey, could you just ask him if he wouldn't mind coming? I didn't have his direct number. And she's like, sure. So the initial response was, so sorry, he's going to be away. And I said, don't worry about it. You know, if something changes, let him know to come, and kept going back and forth. By the 8th email, just talking to my friend, I got that he'll be there at 9:40 on Saturday. I was like, yes. So the coolest thing was having Pumbaa introduce us for The Lion King. We sang Hakuna Matata before it started because I'm a nerd, and watching it with him. And
you see our video?
I have it on video, literally. So awesome. I'm a dork. I don't care. So when he walked in,
I didn't know who it was. So
you should watch The Lion King. So when he walked into the theater to come talk to everybody, he was so kind and authentic. And as he walked in, he looks at me and he goes, Jess, you know what was so fortunate you reached out to us? Because we actually were talking about listing our house. And because of how nice you've been to us at every open house we've ever been to, my wife Cheryl said, we need to call you, and you happened to reach out to us for me to come do this. So he is also one of the referrals that we got from the event, which is huge.
that's
So
cool.
Can he fly to Tulsa for Saturday?
I can ask him. He told me, I said to him, I go, listen, when we're ready to get everything on and we do everything, my only request is just one, is that we go to Disney together. And he goes, sure, because I don't know what it's like to walk in the front entrance, so you're not going to have to do that either.
So does he, when he sells his house, does he need to move to Nashville?
I already have an agent. No, he's not moving to Nashville, but
Awesome.
So, it was great. And the clients, so the other reason he did it was when I said everything to the audience, I said, guys, you know my goal for our team, and I've said it at masterminds, I say it all the time, is to be the Disney of real estate. And he goes, Jess, you treat your clients like the Disney of real estate, and you always go that one extra step to give them the experience. It's not just having a movie event. You try to create the experience. So he's like, this is such a big deal to me, and I can see that you do that, and I'm going to make sure other people know about it too. So that was huge.
Yeah, Jenny, we sold ours out, and we had a really good turnout. Great time. Clients really appreciated it. They were smiling from ear to ear, walking out, and we had the kids realtor and training shirts made, and for all the kids on our team, and it was awesome. And we also have a laundry list of how we can do things better. So that's my advice for anyone doing an event. Just afterwards, make sure you do that recap on what went well, what didn't go well, and then make sure you make the changes and implement them for the next time.
Oh, and keep a playbook. We create playbooks for each event. So we know how many people came, we know where we got the referrals, who they came from, what each item we spent on cost, we know who our sponsors were, so we can say, hey, we want to do another movie event. If somebody else is handling it on the team, we just say, here's this, call Jeff at Simsbury, Apple Cinemas, do X, Y, and Z. This is where we got everything. This is what it costs. So if we have 100 people, it's this. So they know, and it's a no-brainer.
Love it. Any other event tips that you guys have found to share?
Well, we're planning the whole year right now for next year, and one idea we have is we're going to do a magnet up front, a fridge magnet with all of the events, and then we're going to have who we're partnering with for a community, for charities to tie in for each event, and have the whole schedule for the entire year. And we already have the rest of the year, but we're planning now for next year right now. And we talked as a team about it today and just got more ideas of what people are wanting to, what organizations they're passionate about. And so don't be afraid to plan ahead, so then your clients know when each event is, and you can't plan too far in advance.
That's an awesome idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good one. I like the playbook too, Jess. That's good. So you don't have to every year recreate going through those steps. You've got an outline of what to follow. That's cool.
And I'll tell you guys, another thing that people could benefit from with the events is we're going to do basically a sponsorship up front and let people choose how they want to work with us next year. And we're developing all of that now. So, it can make it just very, very simple what people decide they want to participate in and what they don't. And as we know, there's plenty of people that want to partner with teams like ours. So if they decide they don't want to participate, then that's on them. And we're going to let them choose if that makes sense for them or not. But ultimately, I think it's a very, very small thing we ask for people to help sponsor some of these amazing events to roll out the red carpet for our clients. And if they're not wanting to do that, I'm always hesitant if we're on the same page, because I'm all about it.
Would you have them do upfront, like, hey, can we count on you for $1,000 sponsorship for the year, and we'll build that into different events, and have them do it upfront so you save it?
Yeah, we're going to do a tier program, so they can decide what they choose. So for instance, if you want to just be a recommended vendor on our website, that would be one level, and then if you want to be a sponsor that speaks at an event, would be a whole different level. And we have it all. Because I'm sure you guys have dealt with this. We go to vendors sometimes and we say, would you like to sponsor? And they're like, oh, I have plans. And it's like 3 months in advance. You're like, in 3 months you have plans? I'm sure that's happened to everyone here at some point. But ultimately, we just want it laid out, and we want them to decide if they want to, what level they want to be on. And by the way, this is not for profit. This is to pour back into our clients. I mean, we're just taking this money and we're throwing these awesome events, and we're allowing them to speak in front of our clients. Obviously, we refer them all the time because they're partners in our business, and we help each other grow and have the same philosophy about business.
I'd add, be careful just on certain things with RESPA. I know for our state, I would imagine for everybody else too, they can only do a certain portion, but you can get multiple sponsors.
Sure.
Just as a caveat so everybody knows.
That's true. Yeah, very true.
So,
and every state's different. Every state can be different on that.
So we are wrapping up our time here, and I would like each of you to share your life hack for others on how you control your chaos, whether it's how do you remember what you need to do tomorrow, or what is something you can't forget. Are you a paper calendar person? Is it on your phone? Do you use an app or a tool to help you remind or remember things? How are you embracing all the distractions that come at us all day long?
This is a really hard question.
So what?
That's kind of a hard question to answer.
Well, it's a truth question. Well, it's a truth question. Like, I mean, are you just a sticky note person to brain dump things in a place, then you just make sure every day at the end of the day you go through it?
I'll go.
See all that?
Yeah.
So
yeah. I'm sharing this with everyone because it can be as simple as a sticky note, and that's okay. It's whatever your thing is that works to keep you effective and efficient. Tony, what you got?
What I do is Sunday nights, I do my 411, and everyone that reports to me on the team sends their 411 to me as well. And I have to send mine to my coach. And then why I'm a little bit different, I've learned early on, if I leave the office knowing all the stuff I need to do the next day, I have the tendency when I get home to want to continue getting it done and working on it to not have as much work the next day. So one thing I do is when I get up, I have my week planned from my 411 for the most part, but I literally don't know what I'm doing that day till I wake up. And it works for me. It probably wouldn't work for most people, but ultimately I get really stressed out and where I won't be able to sleep and stuff if I take on too much. So that's just a habit I've decided to do. I tackle my calendar when I wake up and I have my workout or whatever planned already. And then after that, it's like, pull out my phone. Okay, here's all the stuff I need to get done today. And then I'm a big to-do list guy. And I use my phone. The reminder on my phone is through iPhone.
Okay, so you just have a running list of things and it's on your phone.
I picked 6 things total from my 411 that I want to do to push the business forward that week and they're the big rocks on my 411. And
that's very similar to you, Tony.
Yeah.
I shrunk my 411 down drastically because it was a to-do list before. So I do have my 411, my calendar, and then I have a project list. Based on the project list urgency, those items will slide over. And so I found if I keep those separate, that it was just much easier for me clarity. So I'm like, okay, if I do this week, I can fail at these other things. These are going to make the biggest impact.
Yeah.
And it's easier said than done. It's taken me, it's taken time to be able to get used to this behavior because I wanted to throw everything on there. I felt accomplished when I'm knocking it off, but the most important things weren't the most important things. So.
About you, Jenny?
Yeah, I mean, because as I've been the transaction coordinator for a while, I have found that if you have all your action plans set up in a system, you can get distracted and off track. And so as I'm training our new girl, it's okay to, not that we choose for distractions when we're focused, and there are just checklists and systems and notes for a reason. So you're always going to be able to get back to those things. Yeah, and for me, I just have to have a notebook to write things down in one place because I was always floating in between electronic calendar and paper to-do list and all that. So I had my huge aha, and thanks for reminding me that you guys do 411s, and they are effective in keeping us focused because I have to get back to looking at it. When I've had all these distractions and disruptions in my life, I just had to put that aside because I went into these admin roles that didn't have that. So, wow.
I think just be as detailed as you can on your 411. Really, track everything. I track everything. It takes me like an hour, then once a month, and then 30 minutes. But I'm tracking all our numbers. I'm tracking everyone's production, everyone's income. I mean, at a high level, so I know where people are at and where our business is.
What are you tracking that in, Tony?
I actually use, it's sad but true, but I use a Word doc on my 411, and then we have a scoreboard that's a Google Doc, and I take it from the Google Doc and, basically transcribe it. I know how many listing sales we have, how many buy sides we have, each person, what's in their pipeline, what's pending, what's closed for the year, what their income is. I have goals like, for instance, who I wanted to hire for the year, and we just hired our last person that I had complete for this year, and now it's like, okay, who's next? And then I have a goal for who I want in my downline, how many people for the year. So just very, very, very specific, and I keep adding to it because it just keeps me on track.
Yeah, good stuff.
And I send it to my coach.
Coaches.
It's $1,000. I don't want to pay him $1,000.
So what I hear you're saying is you run to accountability?
Unfortunately, I do. I'm weird like that.
Josh.
We're all weird.
I don't even know what the question is anymore.
He showed his paper.
Oh, yeah. This thing? Seriously, that's all you use?
Yeah, pretty much.
All right.
Check this out. Look at all those papers all over my desk. People just put stuff there. I'm going to use my iPad at some point.
Well, you guys are awesome. About a month from now, I'll look at the exact date later. Let's do this happy hour time to plan and prepare for Mega Camp. How's that sound?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Look forward to seeing everybody.
I can't wait to see you guys. So thanks for sharing your time today, and you guys get back to crushing it. All right.
Have a fabulous day. Thank you.
All right. Bye, guys.
Thanks, guys.